friend. Today I wanted to talk about gift giving. Think about it. How does giving a gift make you feel? Usually we like to give gifts because we feel that we and the recipient will feel good from giving and receiving the gift. But sometimes that becomes a little problematic, doesn't it? How do we give mindfully to the other person and send the message that we want to have received? Well, here are 3 questions to consider when giving a gift. What message are you sending? Sometimes we get so excited about giving something to someone that we neglect to think about how it might be received. Here's an example from my personal life. Early on when we were dating, my boyfriend, now husband, gave me an expensive piece of jewelry as a gift. Now in his mind, that was an expression of love and devotion. But in my mind, it was very differently received. I didn't like expensive jewelry. I never wore jewelry, and I didn't know him well enough to understand what he was trying to say. I felt that he was perhaps trying to show off, or maybe to buy my love, neither of which sat very well with me. So I actually ended up giving the gift back. Thankfully, we had a conversation and the misunderstanding was resolved. But I think he was very surprised by the unintended consequences of what he thought would be a well-received gift. Think about the long-term effects of the potential gift. Now this applies both to you and to the recipient. First, let's start with the recipient. I once met a woman in her 70s who was asking me to help her with her bills. Turns out, her father, very generous man, had always taken care of all of her bills, all of her life. He passed away in his 90s, and here she was in her 70s, and she didn't know anything about finance. It was very sad. I'm sure that her father meant to be generous and to make sure that she didn't worry in her life. But what he ended up doing was crippling her, so that at a time in her life when she should have been enjoying life, she was very vulnerable. So is the gift that you're considering giving going to have a long-term effect that helps to strengthen the person or to weaken them unintended? That could be a little tricky to think about, but it's worth considering. Then think about the long-term effects on you. Same question. Year, 3 years, 5 years from now, how might giving this gift affect you? If it's going to possibly harm you in a financial way, then you might consider moving on to question number 3, which is, what are my other options? Maybe you don't have to give a financial gift. Maybe you could give something different. I want to share something with you. This is one of my favorite presents from my mom. It's a rock, painted to look like a cow. Now, at the time that my mom painted this rock and gave it to me, I knew that they were struggling financially. And it made me so happy to have a funny, quirky little gift that reminded me of my mom's sense of humor, rather than if she had tried to give me something expensive, something I knew that they couldn't afford. I wouldn't have enjoyed it, and I would have worried about how my parents were getting on financially. Instead, she took a simple rock and some paints and made something that made me happy, made me laugh, and expressed love because I knew it took her time to make that gift. Time equals love. If we can take the time and show that to loved ones, sometimes that is a more meaningful gift than something that is expensive. I hope these tips help you to go out and be joyous in how you live your life and how you give gifts. Until I see you next time, my friends, be well.